Top of the broadcast, everyone. We've been blessed today to network with a few people, and once again, we thank everyone for watching the special last month. Now, this month, we're dealing with some more activism, some more participation. I'm blessed, as you heard last month, to be 2010 chairperson for the precinct. And Marcus, who's the guest here, I'm only going to give a little bit of his credentials because I'm very impressed. I'm 50 plus, and I haven't even touched the surface of some of the things this young man has done, and it has been impressive. The way we were blessed to meet is criteria. One, he is 1116 chairperson for precinct 1116. He's worked with Senator Hillary Clinton. He's also a college advisor to help people get motivated and do what they do, and I like him. So he's also Bexar County's treasurer, elected treasurer. There's a difference in being appointed and elected. This young man was elected, and I'm very proud to introduce him. Hello, Mr. Williams.
Thank you for having me.
Marcus Williams. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
I only gave a few of your credentials, and I was very relaxed as I watched all of us be inaugurated. But there was more to you and what you like to do than just political things.
Right.
It's the collective thinking of community-based organizations.
Yes, sir.
Could you please help some of us understand? Because I am so impressed. I really am.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. And first, I want to say congratulations for becoming precinct chair. That's a high honor. So thank you for thank you for sharing your time.
Yes.
My goal. Yes, I've been involved in politics for a long time, and also involved in community development and I've always wanted to bring something back to the community. I was raised in San Antonio. My parents were in the military. Now they're part of the law enforcement agency. Actually, they're about to retire. But one thing that I've always wanted to do is like, how can I get other people involved in San Antonio? How can I get the youth involved? Of course, we already know the statistics, especially when it comes to African American males, Hispanic males, and also I would say low-income white males as well.
Exactly.
And I believe that and this goes beyond gender. It's also females as well. Yeah. But I've always wanted to figure out how can we get them involved, because it's their future that we want to make sure that they have a hold on and make sure they have input in. Yeah. So a lot of my participation has always been like education. How to mentor the young. Just give you a little side note. After I did my extent with Senator Hillary Clinton as an intern, I came back and I've done AmeriCorps. With AmeriCorps, I was able to learn how to not only build up an organization, but how to really build up a community-based organization, nonprofit type organization. Yes. And with that, I was able to learn how to really talk on a grassroots level. Before, it was a lot of, DC type of jargon. But coming back here, you got to get rid of the jargon and really, humble yourself to exactly understanding the problems and issues at a local base. And I felt that, maybe I can use my experience and really, bring up the younger generation. So with that, I decided to go ahead and actually I was fortunate. I would say I was fortunate enough to actually get a position as a college advisor, early college start specialist advisor. And what that means is that we go into high schools and we really promote, higher education, yes. How to take classes, and how to get yourself, ready for a few courses when you graduate from high school. In fact, the program allowed us to really give an opportunity for seniors to actually take and complete a few classes while they're in high school. Okay. So with that, I was like, you know what, I want to continue this on. So I went off to grad school, was able to really, work hard to get my master's in public policy, but my thesis was to focus on higher education again. Yes. And the focus on that thesis was whether or not higher education, federal investment in higher education can improve the economy region-wide as well as, nationally. Yes. And I found some really interesting information and statistics yes. from that. And I was thinking, okay, you know what? I was armored with all this knowledge and experience, and how can I really, give back? So I moved back to San Antonio. I started off with my business, but my main focus was to really help out with nonprofit, building the nonprofits up. And also down the road, I would like to create a mentorship program which will allow students to, not only students, but any youth to really participate in politics and show that, you know what, if you really want to change your future, you've had to participate, you have to get involved, you have to make your voice heard. And not only just to vote, you have to go ahead and look at some positions, maybe be a precinct chair, maybe just get involved with your local party, regardless of what party you affiliate yourself with. You got to get involved, because that's the only way that you can make changes for yourself and
from
for
within.
your future. Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
The other thing, I was just talking to Leon here, one of the staff members who has really impressed me with the work and his age. And I've enrolled in San Antonio Community College, which I have to start getting used to calling SAC. The thing is, it's networking with them as well. I'm 54, and I was the oldest man, well, the oldest cat that was in orientation. I didn't feel out of place because once we have a saying, face your fear, face your enemy, then you can face yourself.
Exactly.
And with that being said, once you face yourself, you can face your community in order to let them know that they don't have to live the way they do and be a living example.
Right.
I'm originally from Detroitish, you know, and only programs we had were scared straight.
Right.
You either gonna do this or you going to prison.
Right,
and
exactly,
I was like,
exactly.
I've been playing hopscotch with the police and running from them in the alley, so that ain't nothing, you know, but it's a better way of life. And I've seen that. I too am military. I get my disability thing, but there are other programs that our youth can get involved with now. See, when, you know, I don't slow down. I don't want to go on a tangent. Our youth today have so much potential.
Yes.
We have to figure out a way to tap into it before the guys like I used to be hanging with, the drug dealers, the players, the flashy rings and stuff, cause nowadays, I was looking, just for an example, we have a generation that spells me, M-H-E.
Right.
We have a generation that spells what, W-A-T.
Right.
We have a generation that fill their applications out with thanks, T-X. No, that ain't how you spell if you want to. You have become so conditioned with the texting and everything. We have lost the communication to explain this is only a phase. When you get to graduate high school, if you're blessed to, then you have to figure out where you want to go next.
Right.
We were fortunate to have our daughter, our daughters. One is studying, she's about to go to Brown here. She's getting her associates in DeBry, and she sees the importance of education. You, at a young age, began your plight to help make a difference. How can we, as old folks, 50 plus, get our youth to hear it without seeing daddy, grandpa, things like that? That's where you and Mark Hustle may come in. So if you can, we would just discuss in the Second Chance program.
Yes, go right ahead.
Could you please? No, you go ahead, because you know a great deal about it.
Definitely.
And as we talking about Second Chance, I need you to also kind of touch on how the educational system in chartered schools have been inflated, where it makes public schools seem like they ain't doing nothing, but they really are.
Right.
You know, the charter schools, you have to have what, a GED or a high school diploma to be a teacher.
Right.
And you and I both know that's just temporary.
Right, exactly.
So, without me going on a tangent, please do what you can to elaborate on the different sections I touched on, because I'm quite sure it was many.
Sure. Let's start with Second Chance. Second Chance is a great opportunity for those who have been, unfortunately, come with misfortune in their life, but they still feel like they want to give back.
Yes.
And I feel like we know that Texas has a very strict, no tolerance policy when it comes to
felons,
activities and so forth. But at the same time, they're still humans, and they make mistakes, and everyone makes mistakes. Unfortunately, theirs were on a scale that was, invited other things to get involved, and that doesn't mean that they can't get involved. They need to get involved. In fact, there's a couple people out there that's actually working hard. It's called the Second Chance Democrats. They work hard
Yes.
to make sure that their voices, I would say, convicted felons, as well as just other people who have been, in trouble with the law. They work hard to make sure to let them know that their voice can still be heard,
Yes.
that they can still get involved. In fact, one thing that unfortunately has been misrepresented, exactly, is the fact that people think that once you are convicted or once you get in trouble with the law, you cannot vote and you cannot participate.
That's not true.
That's not true.
Exactly.
It's not true at all. And that's the reason why it's so important to get that education out there, the material out there, the information out there, that you can still get involved
Right.
even if you have a criminal record.
Yes.
And they need to understand that. And one thing is that that's almost like a vehicle for people who don't want more participants in the a political process to get them out.
Right.
But Second Chance Democrats, Second Chance programs, they do a great job to say, you know what, just because you've may have stumbled along the way, you're still with every bit of a person as someone else,
As well as an American.
As an American, exactly.
And it's your right to vote.
And it's your right to vote, exactly. And you do not give up that right
That's
for no
right.
one. And you always go out there and you work hard and you make sure that, hey, you know what, I'm still here.
That's right.
I'm a human being, I'm an American, and I will participate. And
Right.
that's the message that's being sent out with the Second Chance programs. As far as public schools, the thing with public schools, yes, I did graduate from Antonia, and I'll get that out of the way. I did graduate from Antonia College
went to
Prep.
parochial
Yeah,
school.
yeah, exactly. And I
East
loved it.
Catholic.
Exactly. And it's like, there you go, see, the Catholic diocese, there you go. Yeah.
Excuse me.
No worries, no worries.
got you.
But that's the thing, is like, but just not to take away from that, public school is very, very important, because the thing about parochial schools and private schools is that they are pretty expensive and very
Yes.
expensive. Does that mean they provide better education? Yes and no. It doesn't. I mean, the point is that when you go and spend money on a school, does not guarantee you're going to have a wonderful education. There's a lot of public school out there that will provide that same type of great quality education, and that there needs to be a focus on public schools. There needs to be a focus on, investing in public schools.
Thank you.
Now, realistically, yes, you can't save every public schools, but there are more out there that people need to know that, hey, these schools are doing a great job.
Yes.
And you need to put the spotlight on those schools and say, you know what, public school, it does work. There's a lot of leaders, a lot of community leaders, a lot of elected leaders, a lot of scientists, and so forth,
Yes.
that have came from public school with quality education, and they're doing very well for themselves.
Yes, they
So it's one of those things where, like, with all the talk about this public school is not doing well for my community. Yes, we have a few of those out there, but that doesn't mean you need to go ahead and throw the baby out with the bathwater. It means
Exactly.
that you just need to fix certain
The
segments
system.
of it in the system, and make sure that it works efficiently for everyone, and make sure it produces great results for everyone that wants to get a quality education,
Yes.
regardless of your socioeconomic state. So.
And I agree, because coming up in Detroit, I was fortunate. It was like $550 a semester, but you're talking 1976.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
Yeah.
Remember, I'm a little
Yes.
50 something. But it was very difficult to kind of interact with both the street life and the Catholic life for
Yeah,
me.
yes.
I had to figure out a way to juggle it, and my mother, she made sure that I still love Mozart, Tchaikovsky, Bach, Beethoven, because they keep me thinking and they help me relax. A lot of our youth also, and I have to reiterate this because it's finna go into the private prison system,
Yes.
where we were just talking about it being predominantly people of color and poor environments,
Yes.
because it's a zip code thing.
Yes.
And that's the way I look at it. I disagree with the political aspect of it, where we sacrifice our seniors, we sacrifice our youth that has one or two incidents, because a lot of our youth don't even know that if you have one felony, you can have it expunged if you do right.
If
No
you do
one
right.
is teaching them.
Exactly.
And I look at Judge Mathis. He was a Earl Flynn back in the days,
Right.
but he's a judge.
Right.
And he took that opportunity not to break his mother's heart.
Yes.
And that's where I'm with the private prisons. I think it is unfair, and a lot of people don't talk about it, but when we talk to our telemarketers, half the people don't know they're prisoners because it's easier to hire them for the airports and Tyson Chicken and promoting this and that and paying them 35 cents a day than it is for them to educate and stop them from going to prison.
Exactly.
And that's where it's like, I don't get it. It seems like the private prisons have just, like the charter schools, are consuming our public enlightenment as well as opportunities. They're forcing us as citizens to either stand up or get rolled over.
Right.
And that's the bottom. I don't mean to sound so street with it, but that's the way
true.
it is.
It's unfortunate because with the private prison industry,
Yes, that's what it is.
remember, if it's a private, it's going to be all about profits.
That's
and
right.
how do you get profits when you're in the prison industry? You get as many people to go to prison so they can get the money to keep on funding that prison.
That's right.
And that's unfortunate because in essence, what's happening is that you're making a profit off of someone's, unfortunate life, or even, and it's not even just the prisoners, it's the victims too. It's like you're
Yes.
making money off, the sorrows and, the
Unfortunate.
unfortunate mishaps
Yes.
of the prisoner as well as the victim. That's something about that's just not morally right.
And that's what I said. I was looking at some of the interviews and how they had dispersed some of the food.
Right.
Last month, they found that one of the private prisons that's in Michigan,
Right.
their food had maggots in it. And they were still feeding it to the prisoners because there was no quality checking, because as a private prison or industry, they do not have to answer to the same criteria as a state-run
They
prison.
don't. They really don't.
And that's where I'm like, your community activists and the ability to put people together can slow it down, at least put a Band-Aid on
Exactly.
it. And that's why I wanted to run for precinct chairperson. Through the grace of God, we both won. What can the people who are not aware become a part of, not just our precinct, but maybe their own, who may not have a representative? How do they find out where to go?
The best thing to do is to go to your local party. For instance, for us, we went to the Democratic Party, the county party, and they will look it up for you and say, okay, who's running in that precinct, who's actually the precinct chair. If it's an open position, take the opportunity and run for it. Even if it's a field position, but that person may not be as active. There's a lot of people who are precinct chair that are not very active, but they're there because they at least want to be part of the system. Well, maybe you can get involved. Say, you know what? Oh, I know I can be active. So let me go and run. Do not be afraid to run for office. And that's why I always tell everyone that I meet who's interested. They're like, well, I may not talk as well. I may have this or that. That doesn't matter. Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, it's not about, and I always say it's never about you.
Right.
It's about the community.
Exactly.
And not saying that to say your worth is not important. It's saying that because when you become a precinct chair, you embody that community. You are their vessel. You want to help them out. You want to get them to vote. You want to organize and so forth. And when you think of it in those terms, then all your fears will go away because you know that you're doing something that's beyond you. You're doing something for the community.
That's right. And if they get involved, like you were saying, in high school, once they start going to college, because when they told me I needed to join some social club, first thing went through my mind is, I'm too fat to run, I have a heart attack, but I can play chess.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
So maybe I can help them in the social club as far as the chess thing.
Yes.
Because, pardon the body, there's always solutions. For some reason, they keep pushing situations. I don't say problems. A problem is when you're too drunk to find out an answer. A situation is something that happened and there's a solution, but you have to think clear enough.
Exactly.
And one of the things I noticed that Our governor, Rick Perry, is taking out of schools is consequential thinking as well as alternatives to violence.
Yeah.
There has to be another alternative than just open carry, fisticuff. If I lose, then I shoot you.
Right.
That's one of the main things that's been magnified in the lower income communities. And these are the things that you and I have become in a selfless position as chairperson,
Right.
to be able to assist those who are unaware that this is a game.
Yes.
This is a game, and they are the numbers on the Dow Jones.
Right,
When it
right.
comes to the private prisons, it comes to I'm so sorry. I got a summer.
That's good. That's
You
quite
know, but
right.
it's,
Yes.
I'm trying not to cry about it because it's happening so rapidly over the whole country. Yet I remember that the main person who was doing the demographics and the business target market came from Texas.
Yeah.
He was the founder.
Exactly.
And that's what this program was about also. We want to lift everything, not just in San Antonio, because here we go. Many people have no idea that the Goodwill give free GED classes.
Exactly.
And the city of San Antonio will pay for the GED.
Exactly.
This is the information that you and I are blessed with this show as well,
Right.
to get out there. And all they have to do is go to goodwill.org. And once they get there, they can learn Excel, they can learn the languages, they can learn the job skills, and then they can find out other things.
And may I add to that? Yes.
Please.
There's a lot of free programs out there that will get you ready for a successful career.
Yes.
Like you mentioned, the Goodwill program, the Dress for Success program.
Thank you. That was it.
Yeah, and I love the Dress for Success program because it teaches you how to not only conduct an interview, but how to present yourself, what to say, what to wear, how to act.
Yes.
So then when you get your GED, you want to go in that mindset like, okay, how do I want to present myself? How do I want to go out there and like make sure I get the highest grade possible, make sure I be able to pass and get my GED. Then I know. In fact, I want to go ahead and diverge a little bit because with their GED, there's a lot of people who went on to college, got their masters as well as a PhD.
Yes.
But what did they do? They went off. They may not receive their high school diploma, but they got their GED.
Yes.
It goes back to what you mentioned. There's always a solution. Never give up. There's always a way around any situation.
Yes.
And when you find out a way around your situation, you can make a career out of a successful career for yourself. But for that to happen, it comes down to confidence and who you are as a person.
Exactly.
And now, at the same time, like I said, I like to be realistic. There's also a lot of barriers out there that you have to go across, especially when you're low income of the minority segment of the population. There's always going to be barriers, whether it's discrimination, socioeconomic barriers, but there's no one that can really stop you from doing what you can do. Now, the resources may be not as plentiful for you to achieve things.
A whole lot of hoops to jump
Yeah,
through.
exactly. But there is a way.
Yes, it is.
But the way to look that out is that you got to make an effort to go ahead and start searching and try to find those resources. Goodwill, for instance. Go on to the, if you can have, actually, one thing, I always tell everyone that if you can, get a library card. Because when you have a library card, you can go to the library, use your computer, and then you can do a lot of the research, like research on how you can get your GED. How can I start a business? There's a SCORE. You can go to SCORE. Which
Love it.
The SCORE is a great opportunity. If you try to
Yes.
start your business, you can go there. But my point is that there's always, like you mentioned, there's always a solution. There's always a way around it. You just got to make the effort. And I would say, if you feel like you don't have the resources, and that's a big one, it's like the lack of resources for a lot of the population, is to go get a library card, and then you will be able to have access to the computer and have access to all that information.
That will help you network. To give you an example of a solution, I have a partner. He's a cadre of mine. He belongs to the cadres of enlightenment. He has a family member who got his GED.
Yes.
He went to the Navy. Well, he went to the military. And he went to go into another field.
Right.
But they say, no, you only have a GED. So what he did was he picked up a couple college courses. So when they seen that he had college courses, they could not deny him his position any longer. It only took him 2 years more,
Right.
but he was willing to invest into that time.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what it takes, dedication. A lot of us, we stumble at the first sign of discouragement.
We do.
And that's the sad part. And me coming up in the ghetto, / low income, / intercultural neighborhood where all the poor folks was. I grew up with like George Walecki, John and Joe Ritter, and a few other people that we collectively knew that we had to do something other than just go by the norm. Where the norm was basically you get up in the morning, you get you a drink, you go ahead, sell you whatever you're going to sell, whatever product it is. Then you end up in dead or in jail. I was blessed not to suffer such a fate because I jumped into the military. And I went from Cub Scouts to Boy Scouts to junior achievement to the military. My mother kept both her feet in my back pocket. I was one of the fortunate ones. And so are you because you were blessed. Our daughter is being raised through the grace of God in a 2-household family. So that's something that we also, when it was coming to the mothers, we have to help reinforce them that what come out their mouth, there's no reason for a grown woman to call another grown woman out of her name as far as the B's. And they say it so comfortably.
Yeah, exactly.
Girl, you just, really?
Exactly.
Do you understand that this goes right along with the WAT? 90% of the employers today will look at your Facebook page in order to figure out do they want you on their job. And our youth don't know that. Did you see what he was doing? And I'd be like, really? Do y'all understand that this whole new world about to open up in 2015 is going to be pure tech? I mean, literally. They even have the new bracelets where the camera can follow you, where it's just you, where you got the closed shot. Our youth has no idea how to work the cameras. They have no idea how to even make it or how to re-engineer it. And this is the things that I feel, just my personal feelings. We, as knowledgeable and enlightened people, need to continue to network and maybe get back out there. I would love to go into the schools with you or to let them know I'm 54 years old plus, but I'm still in college. Because once you think you know everything, you ain't got nothing else to achieve. I know nothing. Only thing I know is the Lord, Jesus Christ of Nazareth, as well as how do I be a solution?
Yeah, exactly. And to piggyback on that point, I always go through life saying, okay, just because I got my degree, just because I've done this, what can I learn? What can I learn? What can I get better at? And that's one thing that you have to understand is that we have to, always push ourselves and keep pushing ourselves and keep pushing. And just one quick point about the terminology that the younger generation is using. It's like, I've always thought, like, when you're with your friends in private, fine, go for it, because everyone wants to have their way of connecting with their friends and stuff. But like you mentioned, since we live in a social media type of world, anything that you post in Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and so forth, it will be out there. It will be public knowledge and public domain. And just because you think you put it in a private account, it just takes one person to get into your account and get that information. But you gotta be cautious and aware of situations like that.
Thank you. Marcus.
Thank you
Mr.
so
Williams
much.
and Mr. Williams. We have to close up now, but we want to thank everyone and may y'all have a blessed month. God bless. Thank you.